Well, we've never really had any money, so it hasn't been the worst thing in the world for us. LEAD is a program that serves Latino students and their allies. And a lot of our students tend to come from homes that don't have much money. The students' parents have not gone to college. And then many of our students are undocumented. So some of the things that the budget cuts have done to affect those students are that, particularly for undocumented students who are at the bottom of the list for many things anyway, when a program like honors is cut, they have no way to get priority registration. So if they're in a major that is a high unit major, and they don't get priority registration, it may mean that they have to stay here for many years to finish their GE requirements. What the budget cuts did this year was a lot of our students who were getting financial aid didn't get as much as they usually do, so they had to drop out. But we told them, don't stop coming to the LEAD meeting. Keep coming. You're still a LEAD student. And so it was a way for them to stay connected. And now I see those students coming back for the spring quarter. They went out and worked, now they can come back for the spring quarter. So it's a way of knowing that they belong somewhere, that we're here for you. Budget cuts don't necessarily affect our program because the money for our program comes out of my pocket. That's how we pay for our program. I put money into a foundation account. But it would be nice if we ever did have money, that people would be generous enough to give us money to keep our program going. So since we've never had any money, the budget cut has not really affected us in the way it might hurt other people.
So
with LEAD, we've asked for money to pay our mentors for our spring class. We do a leadership class in the spring, and the DASB has never given us any money in spite of the fact that we've asked every year. You're not funding brown students. That's what the picture looks like, right? The poorer you are, the browner you are, the less money we're going to give you. And I have lots of students in my class who are from DASB, and I've made this argument to them. They don't seem to see it. They don't seem to understand it. I don't know whether they're just in denial about it, or they really believe that they're funding the right things. But it's a pattern. It's a pattern of abuse of funds. They're between a rock and a hard place. They have to serve a lot of students with very little money. What I do think they should do is every year they send someone to interview you, to ask you about your program. That person sits down with you for 3 minutes, doesn't ever really understand what your program is, and then goes back and tells the rest of DASB. They really need to do more thorough conversations. Go see the program. When they came to talk to me, they said, well, international students mentor for free. Why should we pay your students? I'm like, how do I start to tell you about the social difference, the class difference between international students and migrant students? My students don't have money in the bank. My students' parents are not paying for their tuition. It's a whole different situation. So they need to take the time to get to know the programs. And maybe some of that falls on us too. Maybe we should let them know a little bit more about who we are. It was actually designed by students. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, students designed the program, and what they wanted was a leadership development program. They wanted a program that would talk to them about being leaders not only on campus, but in their own communities. But in the Latino community, as I think in many communities that are not very prosperous, leadership doesn't mean getting elected to office or being the head of something. Very often it means taking leadership in your own community to solve a problem or to help people. Like, if I have a student who has to go to school all day and then go home and take care of her little sisters and work and do her homework, she's a leader if she's helping her little sister understand you should go to college because it's going to make life better for all of us, right? So she doesn't have to get elected to an office to be a leader. So we wanted to look at leadership historically from the Latino perspective. Who have Latino leaders been? How did they get there? And then to help our own students become leaders in their own communities, in their own ways. They definitely do, because for many students, they're the first ones to go to college. So whatever they learn about college and what college is and how to succeed there, they take it back. And not only do they tell their younger brothers and sisters, but often they teach their parents what college is and how it could help them too. Even a community college certificate or a 2-year degree could help their parents. So very often the LEAD students will, like I've had LEAD students who've helped their parents get citizenship, which is a big deal. You know, it's a really hard thing to do. But they're not even working on their own citizenship, they're just helping their parents get their citizenship. So leadership for them means solving problems in their community, helping their families, and it also is a way to keep students in school. Because one of the things we know about student success is that if a student connects to a program, a teacher, or a group of students, they're more likely to keep coming, to come back, because they have a place here. So the 3 goals of LEAD are community service, social justice, and comunidad or familia, community, family. One of the things about LEAD, though, is that we're not all Latino students. We're Latino students and allies, and we've always had allies. In our first class, that's a picture, I think, of our second class. But we've always had white allies, Asian American allies, international student allies. And then I think it's very difficult for them because of the financial issues. Some of the things we try to do, we work on with them is showing them scholarships that are available and showing them how to write scholarship applications. We also do Know Your Rights workshops. We're actually having one on the 22nd out here in the main quad, which is so that students know that they have rights as undocumented people and what protections they have. Because very often an undocumented student will not talk about what their situation because they're afraid that the school will tell somebody else. But in fact, there's an act called FERPA, the Family Education Right to Privacy Act, which protects their information. So if our financial aid knows something, they can't share that information with anybody. So we teach them their rights, we show them how to get scholarships, and we introduce them to people who have succeeded. That I think that's really one of the most important things for them. Very often for a young person who came as a child, it will take 17 to 21 years for them to get legal residency. But we have students who've done it. And so we try to introduce them to them so they can see, yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. Our biggest gap is not having a counselor assigned to the program. Because students only find out about LEAD through friends or because they just happened to sign up for my class and didn't know what they were getting into. It would be great to have a counselor who said, you should take this class because you're interested in social justice, community service, and leadership. This would be a good class for you. We don't have a counselor. See about 400 students a year. Some of them stay the next year, so you know it adds up. When I came here 7 years ago, there were 7% Latino students, and now there's 15% Latino students. I would say by next year we'll probably be at 20% Latino students, because the population of Latinos is growing so rapidly. So we need more programs for them at Anza. We need, everybody to understand who Latino students are, who undocumented students are, what it means to come from a family that's never been to college. Our faculty needs to understand, our students need to understand. So we just need to change our culture a little bit to accommodate them.
Okay.
It would be great to have loungy space. I keep saying that. I'll say that every year. Loungy space space that belonged to students.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to a college that has this. I've always gone to colleges where you've got this. Where you can just kind of slouch out and drink your soda. Not a cafeteria kind of place, but like a carpeted place with sofas where you can sit there and chat and, get to know each other. And I don't think it's just LEAD students that need that, but everybody needs that. I think it changes the nature of the atmosphere when you can just sort of relax. The one thing I would say finally is that money doesn't solve everything. It's nice to have it. Money doesn't solve everything. Respect would be helpful.
Okay.